Hello viewers, how are you? Today I have decided to tell you something about the incident that had indeed shattered the entire humanity with its ferocious velocity. And that incident occurred way back in 23 years ago in the United States of America, the country which was regarded the mightiest and the most invincible country in the world. And they had to face a severe crisis in the name of September 11 terrorist attacks that took place on the soil of that great country. And that unprecedented attack on America had even shattered the entire humanity. All the people in the world were stunned to see that the superpower like America had to kneel down before the terrorists, and those evil beasts had hatched a conspiracy to dethrone the supremacy of America by targeting their prestigious buildings, and those prestigious buildings were absolutely sensational and magnificent. So far as the World Trade Centers are concerned, those World Trade Centers were indeed had become the symbols of America's supremacy over the entire world. And after the colonial rule, the Britishers the glory of Britishers had started fading away, and America had started emerging as the superpower in the world. So that had become Americans had become a absolutely the people were jealous of the supremacy of that great land, and Osama bin Laden, the main kingpin behind those heinous attacks on that soil, was indeed a greatest rival of America. He was the cruelest person on the earth, and he had even vowed to destroy and devastate the sovereignty of that great land by attacking them. And he had tried to attack the World Trade Centers earlier also in 1993, but that attack had not been so much successful. And after that, he had decided to hatch a conspiracy to collapse, to make the World Trade Centers fall on the earth, and he wanted to destroy them by hook or by crook. That is why he decided to hatching a conspiracy by sending some terrorists in America, and he also made them learn some techniques in aeronautics there. Those terrorists who had attacked the soil of America had also learned the aeronautics experience in American soil also. So, after learning and the aeronautics, they decided they got the license of flying an aircraft. So, they had made up their mind earlier also that they had to go for that impeccable task. So they were heading towards a task which was absolutely impossible, and they knew that if they had hijacked the aeroplanes, then those aeroplanes would have easily been converted into the rockets, and those rockets could have easily rammed into the World Trade Centers. And as they had thought of, they had evil designs of destroying and devastating the World Trade Centers. So they started to practicing the evil attack on that soil of America. And on that fateful day of September 11, when the morning was very bright and all the people of that country were busy doing their regular work, and they had not even dreamt of facing such a severe consequences. And so, on that fateful day, four aeroplanes from different airports of America had been hijacked. And after hijacking those aeroplanes from different airports, the terrorists started doing their work which they were assigned to do, and they stormed into the cockpit, and they easily controlled the pilots with their plastic knives, because they were not allowed to take any weapons into the aeroplane, but they managed to take plastic knives into the aeroplane, and they started threatening the passengers by saying that they had bombs on board and they could have easily destroyed the aeroplane. Now, the passengers between the devil and the deep blue sea, because if they had surrendered before the terrorists, then they had to go to meet their maker, and if they had not surrendered before their terrorists, in that consequence also they had to go to meet their maker. So that was indeed a very painful condition so far as the passengers were concerned. And the first plane entered, rammed into the North Tower of World Trade Centers. And when it entered the at 8:45 a.m. Now, when it entered the World Trade Center, the people started speculating that a mad person had indeed rammed. He had rammed that aeroplane into the building accidentally. But after some time, after 45 30 minutes, when the another plane rammed into the South Tower, the people easily understood that that was indeed an incident of sabotage, and they had realized that their country was under attack. So in that way, the two towers were about to collapse, and their collapse was absolutely imminent, and people could do nothing but to see that awful situation. All the people tried their level best to rescue the people who had been trapped into the building, but you will be surprised and you will be stunned to know that the people who had been trapped in 100th floor or in 88th floor, they had to jump off those buildings so as to escape their imminent death. But they did not know that they had indeed jumped off that building, but their destiny was full of pain, and they were heading towards their imminent end. So in that way, the people died painfully, and due to suffocation, many people died. And after that, there was a great explosion, and the buildings collapsed easily, and there was nothing left there but for the debris. And another plane that had hit the Pentagon, American military center, had also been attacked on that day, and Pentagon had also been the one part of Pentagon had also been destroyed completely. And the fourth plane, which was still in the air, now all the people had started speculating that that fourth plane was going to hit the White House, the presidential house. But the passengers in that plane had also gauged that they were going to be the victims, and they had indeed conceived that their plane was going to hit the White House, and because they had heard from the telephone that three planes had been attacked and three planes had been brutally rammed into some buildings. So they decided to wage a war against those culprits, and those hideous criminals decided to take that plane into the White House, but the passengers showed immense bravery and courage and valor, and by dint of indefatigable efforts, the passengers made the terrorists destroy the plane on the earth, and that plane crashed on the earth in the forests of Pennsylvania. So, in that way, this incident has indeed shattered the entire humanity, and the people who had refused a turn, who had turned a deaf ear or a blind eye to the terrorism which our country had been facing since eon, and now they had also started recognizing that terrorism has become a growing menace, and they also decided to wage a decisive war against those evil beasts who had indeed threatened the entire humanity with their evil deeds. So, we must remember those days, and we must decide to take a vow, take a pledge that we will certainly stand against all kind of terrorism that we face in this world, because it is for the welfare of humanity that we can't put the safety of humanity at stake by allowing the terrorists to carry out their evil deeds. So keep these things in your mind and keep fighting against terrorism. Thank you.